Imagine Sunday is always a political day. We have the political dose for you in this bulletin. But of course, also later, we'll be talking about career choices. But most importantly, when you're talking about remote jobs in these difficult times, what can you do to secure a remote job and what strategies can you use? We'll be having that conversation a little bit later. But for now, welcome to Sunday Express. Here are tonight's highlights. A worried lot. Families of abductees claim they're being shadowed by strangers.
But we're also asking Kenyans to be patient with one another. Let us not listen to what politicians are telling us. Let us know that your neighbor is your neighbor, irrespective of the language they speak. They are still your neighbors.
Torn down. Church cautions politicians against balkanizing the country. World Wetlands Day. Human activities identified as a major threat to conservation efforts.
Kile mimi naomba ni shule yetu watoto fereji watusaidie watoto warundi shule. Njoo sasa hii shule ikiisha hatujui vile tutafanya.
Only 3 learners in school. Why parents are giving Nyagakairo Primary School in Tharaka Nithi a wide berth. Welcome again. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Byron Abuli is a sign language interpreter. To begin off tonight, activist Bob Njagi and brothers Jamil and Aslam Longton, who were allegedly abducted in Kitengela, Kajiado County in August last year, are now accusing security agencies of tracking and threatening to block their search for justice. Addressing the media in Nairobi on Sunday, relatives of Steve Mbisi and Kalani Mwema, who were said to have forcibly disappeared from Lolongo, have also spoken of what they claim to be threats from unknown people, warning them against seeking answers on the whereabouts of their kin.
With pressure mounting on the state to explain recent cases of alleged abductions and extrajudicial killings reported in the country, victims of the said crimes, together with their families, are demanding accountability from security agencies. Speaking in Nairobi on Sunday, the 3 people who are reported to have been abducted in Kitengela in August last year said unidentified people have been tracking them.
On January 5th, 2025 at 6 a.m., I noticed a black Subaru Outback with a registration number KDP 044J with tinted black windows, black tinted windows, trailing me during my morning run in Kitengela. The exact vehicle was also seen surveilling Jamil and Aslam Longton on multiple occasions.
Relatives of Steve Mbisi and Kalani Mwema, who were said to have been forcibly disappeared in Mlolongo in December last year, have also claimed to have received threats to abandon calls for action over the disappearance of the duo.
I began receiving numerous threatening calls, warning me to stop pursuing the case. The caller warned me that I would also be forcibly disappear.
Someone who claimed to be a police officer, he told me that my brother was in Lamu and would be released that night. However, he also wanted me to keep this information to myself or risk my brother heading up in morgue.
According to the Kenya Human Rights Commission, tens of Kenyans' whereabouts remain unknown. The activists want the state to defend witnesses with crucial information that will help in investigation and prosecution of perpetrators of the violations.
The numbers that we have since the protests began, 89 Kenyans have been enforcedly disappeared. But as of today, 29 are still missing.
We demand an immediate, independent and transparent investigation into the cases of Bob Njagi, Jamil Longton, Aslam Longton, Justus Mutumwa, Martin Mwau, Steve Mbisi, Kalani Mwema and all other victims and survivors of enforced disappearance.
Joseph Ohungu for Sunday Express.
Our comrades, viva! Viva! Down, down with the abductions, down! Down!
Chaos erupted at a fundraiser for the victims of a Moist Bridge fire tragedy after supporters of two local leaders clashed. It was a free-for-all after supporters of Soy MP David Kiplagat clashed with those of area Governor Jonathan B. Chalilim and security personnel. The fracas started after the MP arrived at the venue of the fundraiser accompanied by his supporters. The legislator, who is a critic of the governor, used the event to dress down Governor B, accusing him of poor services delivery and neglecting the township. But governors and leaders present defended Governor B over attacks from the legislator, accusing him of taking advantage of a situation to get political mileage.
ya kuchezewa na kutukaniwa kila siku. Sisi pia tulichaguliwa na wananchi. Mimi nimekuja asubuhi, nimeenda kanisani. Tumeenda tumeomba Mungu kule. Tumepeana pesa kanisa pale. Nilikuwa najua hapa mnatukaribisha tusaidie waathiriwa. Lakini mimi nimeshangaa vituko nimeona hapa. Wacha niambie nyinyi. Mimi nataka tu kuomba viongozi tukue watu wa heshima. Wakati hata tunataka kusema iko shida hapa, iko shida pale, tufanye kwa njia ya heshima. Tusikuwe na nafasi ya saa zingine tunaona wajumbe wengine wanazomea magavana zama watoto. Sisi sio watoto wenu. Let us be serious.
The Anglican Church of Kenya, Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, has raised an alarm over the rise of what he terms as ethnically skewed rhetoric. The cleric has warned that a heightened ethnic mobilization by political leaders laced with threats is likely to jeopardize national cohesion.
Presiding over the retirement of Bishop Cletio Gario Ghetto from SEK Upper Southern Nyanza Diocese at St. Philip's Church, Kisii Town.
Tunajua mengi ambayo yanaendelea na mengi ambayo tumeshuhudia.
Anglican Church of Kenya Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit cautioned politicians he claims are beating the drums of war through ethnic mobilization.
We are also beginning to hear heightened political rhetoric and a lot of mobilization. Again, as usual in Kenya, we mobilize according to tribes and regions. And we can now see and can say the threat to cohesion in Kenya.
Sapit says Kenyans are peace-loving and should therefore not be set up against each other.
This will not give Kenya peace, and if we continue this way, this will become a national security issue.
He called on Kenyans to reject politicians bent on taking advantage of the country's ethnic diversity to create hostility to achieve selfish ends.
But we also asking Kenyans to be patient with one another. Let us not listen to what politicians are telling us. Let us know that your neighbor is your neighbor, irrespective of the language they speak. They are still your neighbors.
The church, in the meantime, has called on the government to speed up the implementation of its campaign pledges.
We are waiting to see whether those pledges is going to be done.
Bishop John Okinda, the overall overseer of PEFA Kenya, while making the calls, also called out the political class, accusing them of convoluting public affairs for political gain. Abductees Hashim for Sunday Express.
Human activities on wetlands remain a major threat to conservation efforts. The slow progress of achieving meaningful results has alarmed environmentalists who have called for the adoption of proactive measures in the preservation of the ecosystem. The stakeholders spoke during the World Wetlands Day celebrations this year and focused on protecting wetlands for a common future, as Timothy Kipnusu now reports.
On Sunday, environmentalists across the country converged at the Alliance Boys High School in Nairobi as Kenya joined the rest of the world to commemorate the World Wetlands Day. Calls for stakeholders to join hands in conserving and protecting water towers were made. Speakers at the celebrations raised concern on the encroachment levels in wetlands, warning that major water towers were slowly hurtling towards being wastelands.
Wetland ecosystems are vulnerable to uncontrolled human activities that negatively impact on their ecological health, consequently causing loss of ecological functions. Encouragement of wetlands for agriculture, settlements, industrial and infrastructural development has led to loss of many wetlands in our country and globally.
Human activities such as illegal settlement, pollution, overgrazing and quarrying have been cited as the most potent menaces to the ecosystem.
Wetlands continue to face threats from climate change, from human activities. These challenges require urgent intervention to prevent further degradation.
Kuna a lot of pollution coming from fertilizers. We have to work together so that we can conserve that.
Speakers led by Environment Principal Secretary Festus Ngeno underscored the need for ensuring that punitive measures are applied on offenders.
We have put punitive measures to ensure that we deter people who are interfering with Ondiri wetland. But even as we put measures to deter, we are also seeking to engage the residents to encourage and educate them on what they need to do and the benefits of the wetland to them.
We believe in keeping the environment sustained because we look at the far into the future. How do we enable the generations to come to utilize or take advantage of what we are taking advantage today?
The National Environment Management Authority, in the meantime, will coordinate the wetlands conservation initiatives across the country.
We are planning to bring a one-stop shop for climate across the country to ensure that everyone is onboarded on climate and environmental settings.
We feel that the government is recognizing the efforts that we, the stakeholders at Ondiri, are playing in protecting wetlands for our common future.
So on what we can do to make sure our environment gets even better and what role we can play is in terms of also contributing to the conservation of the environment and also for compliance to matters of environment.
Over 60 stakeholders have so far adopted wetlands for restoration nationwide. Meanwhile, coastal wetlands are facing unprecedented levels of degradation, heightened by climate change effects, rising human population and high poverty levels. According to Kwale County Forest Conservator Rua Masha, the major cause of degradation of the mangrove forest areas are forces from the community surrounding the forests.
Tumekuwa na several challenges, na moja wapo ambayo inakuwa a very big cause of degradation in the mangrove forest areas ni forces from the terrestrial, kutoka kwa nchi kavu.
I have a goal of planting 1 million trees by 2032 and also for 1 million trees in 5 minutes so that I can get into the Guinness Book World of Records.
The celebrations were marked under the theme Protecting Wetlands for a Common Future. Timothy Kipnusu for Sunday Express.
Nyaga Cairo Primary School in Mogwe Ward, Chuka Igamba Ngombe constituency in the Rakanithi is on the brink of closure following pupil shortage. When schools opened for term 1 of the 2025 academic calendar, only 3 pupils reported back. The school is reported to have been struggling with pupil shortage for years, with the learners having never exceeded 40 at any time.
Nyaga Cairo Primary School in Mogwe, Tharaka-Nithi County. A deserted compound tells the tale of a school in dire need of learners. Since schools reopened in January, only 3 pupils have reported. Most of the classrooms are empty, with learning having last taken place in October 2024. The 7 teachers in the school arrive every morning full of expectation, only to return home without any sign of chalk dust on their hands.
Juu kila wakati walimu wanakuja wanashinda hapa na hakuna kitu wanapata. Tuongee ukweli. Na sasa watoto wanarundi wanaenda, hatujui shinda ni nini. Juu walimu wanakuja shule, hatujui ni nini inaendelea.
Watoto watatu huwezi kunja hapa mkiwa 8. Mmekuja shule.
Ni lazima mfanyiwe kazi nyingine bana. Juu kwa sababu ya nini? Utafanya kazi gani? Hakuna watoto, umekuja shule, unakuja kusomeza nini?
As questions linger as to what might have caused the shortage of learners, parents have been urged to take their children back to school.
Aki tafadhali tumemuomba, tusaidieni hii shule yetu irundi. Ndio sababu hii shule yetu ikiisha, hata sisi hatujui tuko wapi.
Please. Saidieni mbega kwa mbega. Muone watoto wameingia shule hii. Kwa sababu mkikataa hiyo, the school will be closed. And if the school is closed, your life is also closed.
In 2021, the school had an enrollment of 71 pupils, a number that has dropped over the years. Nancy Okware, Sunday Express.
Argentine explorers participating in a historic journey across the African continent have arrived in Kenya. Using the iconic Citroën JCV cars, the explorers are on a mission to complete a 10,000-kilometer expedition through Africa, commemorating the achievements of legendary engineer and industrialist Andre Citroën during his African crossing. Speaking at a NAT event to welcome the adventurers in Nairobi, Argentine ambassador to Kenya, Louis Levet, noted that the journey, which employs legendary off-road vehicles across diverse terrains and landscapes, not only showcases human determination and mechanical ingenuity, but also enhances cultural and interpersonal relations. He stated that the expedition is part of various initiatives by Argentina to strengthen ties with Kenya for mutually beneficial outcomes.
Then went to Namibia, Zambia, Tanzania, and then Uganda, and now here in Kenya. I must return to Cape Town in final February.
Challenge. This is how Argentinians are. We are subject to a challenge, to resilient, to adventures. In this case, this is a Kenya stage, which is very important because Kenya is a wonderful country.
This is what diplomacy is all about. South-to-South cooperation, where people from the South can interlink and work with each other. This goes beyond just somebody driving. It has brought the people together.
That story takes us to a very fast breather right here on Sunday Express, but don't go too far. We're coming back with more news, including an interview. We'll shortly be talking to Brian Mwithi, the CEO of Careers Without Borders, and we'll be talking about, how to secure a job remotely, including probably, you never know, maybe some Manchester City players could secure some jobs remotely, because what has happened at the stadium is quite interesting.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kesho yangu mkuri. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
Where is everyone? I am Princess Snow White with 7 dwarfs around me. How come there's only you left? Tell me.
Now I'm telling you something. Hao quit the team. So, today we have to choose. a new captain from you.
We can't win without you. Who am I going to cooperate with?
We can't win even with me.
Actually, I came here today not only to return the computer, but also to say something important. Invite you to work with us. Hey, look, I brought all the material. And this one is our company's profile.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sunday Express. Now, a family in Busia is appealing for financial aid to facilitate the treatment of their kin who is a cancer patient. John Ojanji, a seasoned journalist, has been battling prostate cancer for more than a year and is in desperate need of financial assistance to facilitate his medication and chemotherapy sessions at the Kakamega Referral Hospital.
For a year now, John Ojanji has been battling prostate cancer.
Nimekuwa na tatizo la prostate cancer kuanzia mwezi wa Februari mwaka jana.
According to the family, Ojanji's diagnosis of the disease has been mentally, physically and financially draining. Over the past few months, Ojanji has undergone extensive tests, treatments and hospital visits, depleting his savings.
We really struggled. Mutibu, you also understand that ugonjwa it took a lot of our resources.
Doctors have recommended continued chemotherapy sessions, but the cost of treatment and medication has taken a toll on Ojanji and his family. The rising medical costs have become overwhelming, and the family is now appealing for financial support to raise 4 million shillings to facilitate his medication and chemotherapy sessions at the Kakamega Referral Hospital.
Huwa naenda kliniki za chemotherapy, na chemotherapy wanataka damu mwilini mwako ambayo sio chini ya 10. Chemotherapy yangu huwa kliniki naenda Kakamega.
To support John Ojanji, you can channel your contributions to his M-Pesa number 0726951643.
All right, time for us now to have a conversation right here. And Brian Mwidhi is Careers Without Borders CEO, and we're going to talk about how, strategies to use to secure jobs remotely. Thank you very much, Brian, for joining us.
Thank you so much, John, for having me.
Absolutely. Let's begin, because when we talk about remote jobs, people may not be able to, first of all, to decode, what remote jobs are. What are they?
Okay. So remote jobs are the jobs that people do at the safety and comfort of their homes. So it's any normal job in HR, in communications, in from finance, accountants, people in tech. So it's jobs that you do at the comfort of your home. Yeah, so there's so many companies out there who do not have offices, and they have staff who work completely from home. So that is what a remote job is, and not to be confused with remote gigs, which are the ones you get on websites like Remotask or Transcription. So these ones, you have meetings, you have a team, so it's just a normal job, but you do it from home. Yeah.
Let's talk about, the form of employment. Is it an employment? Is it there's an engagement and there's an employment.
Yeah.
So is it an employment? When you talk about remote jobs, you're talking about employment or engagement?
So a remote job is an employment. It's not like the transcription thing where you just have a website and you have an account and then you do it. This is an employment with a contract for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's an employment thing with benefits, with salaries, and with days off, leaves, sick days, just like a normal job, just that you do it from the comfort of your home. And you might be working for a company in the US, in the UK, it doesn't matter, but it's just a normal job. Yeah.
For this employer who is looking for somebody to work remotely, what kind of skills or qualifications are they looking for? Because I could be a HR practitioner, probably out of experience. That is, I'm not in the formal channel really of being a PR practitioner, but probably through practicing here I can be, somebody who's practicing HR. But are there specific skills or qualifications that probably an employer will be looking out for, other than just the experience of I've done this?
Yeah, so obviously there's there's spaces where it's easier to get a remote job. Like if you're in tech, it's easier to get a remote job as a software engineer and stuff like that. But for HR or a PR or a communications manager, the first thing that you'd have to have is like proof of the work that you've done. And then once you have that, then you'd have to now have the digital skills. So you must be able to use stuff like Google Meet, Zoom, Teams, all of that. You also have to be able to use stuff like Asana and Trello for project management. You're supposed to be able and good at using Slack for communicating with the team.
What is Slack?
So it's just like a WhatsApp, but now for business only.
Okay.
So you're in the group with your team, and the manager says, we need to do this, and then people see it, and then once it's done, it's said, oh, we're done. So it's just tools that are there that you need to familiarize yourself with. There's so many videos on YouTube that you can use to teach yourself on how to use them also. So it's very easy to get into.
You know, most of the job seekers probably, you know, are looking for a job that is readily available probably in the Kenyan market.
Yeah.
But for these remote jobs that you're making reference to, how does one search these opportunities?
Okay, so there's specific websites that you're supposed to use.
Okay.
I think the best ones that I've seen are definitely LinkedIn, Indeed, and you just put on the remote filter. But there's also specific ones for remote jobs like Flex Jobs. There's weworkremotely.com. There's Beyond the Savannah in Kenya. And there's also a lot more that you can find, but it's not about looking for them. The main thing is about knowing what type of remote job you're supposed to apply for and how to go about it. Yeah.
So how do you verify these opportunities? Because I mean, it's easy to go to LinkedIn, like you're saying, or any other website that provides these remote jobs. But there's the small aspect of verification that indeed these jobs do exist. And while at it, that you do not just become a labor machine, so that even the rates from which you're negotiating are probably favorable or are what you ought to be paid for the job you're doing.
Yeah, I think when it comes to remote jobs, because the opportunities are so good and they pay so well, there's obviously people who've infiltrated the pool and post a lot of fake jobs. So you need a lot of training to be able to understand, okay, this is a legit one and this is not a legit one. But the easiest way to know it's not legit is if they ask you for money. If they ask you for payment for a certification, for a course, or to open a bank account, or to open anything, those ones are scammers. Yeah, but there's ways that we train people on how to identify the real ones from the fake ones, so that you also don't waste your time applying for fake jobs. Yeah.
For somebody, you know, applying for a remote job, what are the major mistakes a remote job applicant would make? What is that one mistake or two one would make applying for a remote job that would obviously rule you out of the opportunity you're seeking?
Okay. So the first thing and the most important thing when you're applying for these jobs is you have to have an ATS CV. So No, ATS. So it stands for Applicant Tracking System. That is a system big companies use to filter out resumes.
Oh, I thought it was 8 years.
No, yeah. So an ATS CV is a CV that is readable by that system. So what that means is, because it's an AI reading it and it's not a human, the CV should not have any type of graphics, any types of photos. It should be like very plain, just text on a paper. So once you have that CV, the other biggest mistake most people make is not tailoring it to the specific job description that they're going for. So for example, if you're applying to work for my company, we use a lot of Google Meet, WhatsApp Business, we use a lot of AI also, we use a lot of Google Docs, stuff like that. So in my ATS system, I'll set it in a way that anyone who does not put those keywords in their CV is automatically rejected by the system. So we will never get to see your CV. Yeah. So the main goal is to have a CV that's readable by the AI, and then make sure to tailor it to the specific job description when applying for roles. Yeah.
Talk about the importance of polishing your CV. Because there was a discussion just the other day about how irrelevant some CVs normally are, where you're indicating some very irrelevant stuff. Talk about polishing a CV when you're applying for these jobs, particularly the ones that you're saying it is an AI-generated system that really is going to read through your CV.
Yeah, so there's usually two types of CVs when you're applying for jobs. The first one is the ATS one. That's the one used by most big companies out here because of the volume of applications they get. So when it comes to that CV, you need to make sure that it's very short, 2 to 3 pages, don't have your date of birth or those other personal information on there. Yeah. Don't make it 10 pages. And then also make sure to be as brief in the explanation of your summary, your experiences, and your skills. Yeah. So the other type of CV is a modern CV, the one that people use when you're applying directly to HR. So if you're sending it directly to me on my email or to my WhatsApp or to my DMs on LinkedIn, you need to make sure that it's human likable. So it needs to have like columns, looks really good and appealing. So when it comes to the different types of CVs, you need to make sure you know what is the purpose and where you're going to be using the CV so that you align it to the type of application that you're making. Yeah.
I want us to deal with, probably a classic situation. Here I have a CV that has date of birth, religion, location, district, and I'm fashioning it for a remote job. And you've talked about columns, for example, if I'm dealing with a person directly, if they're offering that job opportunity. But for this specific purpose of a remote job, what do I need to do to that CV?
Okay, so first of all, you need to make sure that it's an ATS-friendly template. No photos, no graphics, no columns, just plain text.
There should be no photo on that
Yeah,
CV.
nothing. No personal details like your religions, GEO KCPE results, nothing of that nature. Yeah, it should just be focused on the type of experience that you've had for the last years of experience that you've had, your education, like your degree, your master's, all of that. And then one of the most important things that most people forget is the tools that you can use. So for example, if you're very good at using Word, Excel, presentation, you make sure that you put that down. If you're good at using ChatGPT, if you're good at using Zoom, Teams, you make sure you put that down, because most companies that are looking for remote talent are looking for people who are tech savvy. So you need to make sure that comes out really strongly in your CV. Yeah.
KCP, KCC, not necessary.
Not necessary at all. Yeah.
In the formal, job employment cycle, there's always the emphasis on networking.
Yeah.
Probably I'll give somebody a CV, this is what I've done, and probably help in connecting me with a job. Question is, when it comes to remote jobs, is networking important?
Yeah, for sure it's important. Going to webinars where people are talking about remote opportunities and doing a lot of reaching out to people on LinkedIn who do have these remote jobs or do work at these big tech companies would really help your chances. But I think the most important way of networking when it comes to remote jobs is, because you can't meet these people physically, is showing them a proof of work.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why we always talk to any candidate that we're talking to and make sure that they understand, if I'm hiring you from maybe Iran or maybe the UK, I might not even know what Kenya is, right? But if you show me a proof of the work that you've done, if you have a portfolio of the work that you've done with evidence, it's easier for me to believe you because I can see the work that you've done. Yeah, so when it comes to networking for remote jobs, having that proof of evidence of the work that you've done, photos, website evidence, video evidence of the stuff that you do is one of the most important things. Yeah.
I'm just wondering because remember on the CV you told us no images.
Yeah.
Because it will be picked out by
ATS system.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these photos and this evidence of work I've done, so I'll send them as attachments or what?
No. So when you're applying for jobs, especially remote jobs, they usually ask you for a link to your LinkedIn profile and a link to your portfolio or website. So that's where you're supposed to attach them. So you create, or you get someone to create a portfolio for you with the work that you've done, and then now you attach the link to your CV or to the application form when they're looking for
the links can be on the CV?
Yeah, it can be on the CV at the top. Okay. So you have to have the link to your LinkedIn profile and then the link to your portfolio.
All right. Let's take a small breather, and then when we come back, we'll pick up the conversation from there. Okay. I mean, it's quite a scintillating conversation on the remote jobs, the opportunities that exist, but then again, some of the mistakes that you would make and would rule you out of what you've been seeking. We're taking a breather, don't go too far.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kizongo mkuli. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart! 1,000. Kenya, select! Yes!
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
Where is everyone? I am Princess Snow White with 7 dwarfs around me. How come there's only you left? Tell me.
Now I'm telling you something. Hao quit the team. So, today we have to choose a new captain from you.
We can't win without you. Who am I going to cooperate with?
We can't win even with me. Actually, I came here today not only to return the computer, but also to say something important. Invite you to work with us. Hey, look, I brought all the material. And this one is our company's profile.
Ndio at least ndio nikiona vizuri. Hapa naona.
Mtoto akililia wembe sharti ainame.
Hawa ni kina nani tujuane?
Huyu sasa ndio Mbuta Lukaso.
Nilikuwa na daktari hapa amenitimbu.
Daktari gani huyo?
Mukaka amenikanda na maji moto.
Msipaka ngio mchezo. Huwezi kwenda hata pole pole.
Unataka kukaa na mimi kufanya nini hapa? Naona kiti ni ya mtu mmoja.
Wewe usinichuje hapa na pewe ni mtumwa.
Mimi ni mtumwa.
Usishikishike jaba mamako tafadhali.
We're back. You're watching the Sunday Express. Our conversation tonight focuses on remote jobs and strategies which you can use to secure yourself a remote job. Well paying, by the way, according to Brian Mwithi. But of course, we were talking about networking. And he talked about webinars and stuff like that on how you can network. But the question is, over and above things like webinars, is there a way to build a network? Any other form of network?
Yeah, I think one of the easiest ways to build a network is just posting content on what you do. So, for example, if you're doing HR, you talk about a new system you implemented on LinkedIn and post it, on IG and post it. If you continue doing this on your profile for a while, the right people who want people who do this stuff will notice you and then now reach out to you, and that could be like a really easy way to network. For example, my LinkedIn, I have now 29,000 followers. Yeah. And I've gotten so many gigs, so many clients, and so many people reaching out for me to work with them remotely or help them set up a remote system over the last 2 years, which is really, really crazy and easy, just by posting content on what you do. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a remote job. The interview is remote.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for a remote interview? Yeah.
So it's just normal, like this normal interview. Just the difference is like you need to make sure that your room looks nice. You look nice, obviously. Yeah, you need to make sure the background, because people will judge you on that. If you have like dirty socks behind you or like a messy room, people would definitely judge you. So you need to make sure that your room looks nice, the camera looks nice, and you also need to make sure that you study a lot about the culture of the country that is hiring you. So for example, in US interviews, which I've done a lot of, they focus more on like storytelling. You need to be very, very good at communicating. So if I ask you a question, you need to tell me an answer that is more of a story-based example answer. Whereas in places like Dubai or the United Emirates, they focus more on direct answers. So how do you do this? I do this by doing this, this, and this. But for the States, you have to give a story of how you've done it before. So you need to do a lot of research on how the country you are interviewing for does their interviews. Yeah.
The line of questioning for this potential employer, is it the same as a physical interview? Because sometimes you introduce yourself to us, then you'll be told, why are you interested in this job? How will you help this company? So in terms of the line of questioning, is it the same as in a remote, in a physical interview?
Yeah, pretty much, almost 100%. The only difference is, apart from the tell me about yourself questions and those are normal questions, they usually ask you like remote-based questions. Like, have you ever worked with a team remotely before? So even if you did during COVID, you need to say yes. During COVID, or if now you're working with a team, maybe someone is in Germany, but you come to the office, but you're working with someone who is in Germany, you need to say yes. We have a team member who's in Germany or US or wherever, and we work with him remotely using this tool, and this tool. But apart from that, every other question is the same. Yeah.
As we wind up, I'm assuming, for example, if you secure a job outside Kenya, and outside the East African region, probably pretty much where we enjoy the same, time zone.
Yeah.
But you get jobs where the time zones are completely different. It alters your life completely. How do you balance the demands of your job and living a healthy life, or a normal life for that matter, without even necessarily suffering a burnout?
Okay, I think that's a really, really good question, because it's something a lot of people who are my clients suffer with for the first few weeks after they get a remote role, specifically in Australia or in the US, because they're almost 10 hours ahead or behind us. Yeah. So what you need to make sure is you notify everyone around you that your system and your time will change, so that if you're having like family or friend engagements, they move around and work around your job. For example, if you're working in the US, you'll be working from, let's say, 6 or 7 or 8 p.m. all the way to 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. sometimes, or even 1 a.m. or something like that. So you need to make sure that you align, if you're going to the gym or if you have other stuff that you need to do in the day, you align it to your job, and you make sure that people understand that I from 7 to this time I'm not available, so that now they can respect your boundaries. Yeah, but it does take like a few days to adjust, but once you do, it's really easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brian, for that incisive conversation, and we appreciate you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoy being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Let's move things forward. And of course, that's a very incisive conversation, as you've had. And what you really need to do if you're looking for opportunities abroad and working remotely, those are some of the conversations really that you need to have. But most importantly, you can look for Brian Mwithi. You have social media handles?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the name of our company is Careers Without Borders. We help people get remote roles from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, US, UK, anywhere you want. To find us on Facebook, it's Careers Without Borders. On Instagram is Careers Without Borders _. On LinkedIn, it's just Brian Mwithi. And then we also have like a website, www.careerswithoutborders.com.
And you also give them advice on what to do regarding a job opportunity?
We also post the job opportunities that we have, and we also help them understand how to get from where you are right now to a remote role, from the CV to the LinkedIn to the training to the interviewing, everything. Yeah.
And it is possible to work part-time, probably, if you have a formal job back here.
Yeah. I have a lot of clients who have really good jobs in Kenya. So they just supplement it with 2 to 4 hours a day. And then you get a job where you're getting paid per hour, maybe $20, $30, $40 an hour. And then you just supplement it with your current job. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Brian. Hope to have you again. Let's move this forward. Just sit tight. A section of leaders from the Coast region have welcomed the appointment of Aisha Juma as the chairperson of the Kenya Roads Board. Meanwhile, over 250 mathematics teachers across the country are converging at the Kibabii University for a training project meant to improve teacher-learner performance in the classroom. For this and other stories, here is our County News Roundup.
The leaders from the Coast region have welcomed the appointment of Aisha Juma as the chair of the Kenya Roads Board, saying she has the capacity to provide leadership in dealing with the challenges that have hindered the extension of the tarmac network in the country.
Hatuwezi kukubali ati watu wote uchaman wao hauingiliwi. Ukifika uchaman wa watu wa pwani mnautafuta mtu koroge. Waambieni mkiwaona ya kwamba Aisha Jumwa ako na ndugu zake, ako na kaka zake, ako na wajomba zake, na sisi ndio tuko. Hatutakubali mkoroge huyu dada yetu, mwacheni afanye kazi.
Elsewhere, over 250 teachers of mathematics across the country are converging at the Kibabii University in Bungoma County for a training project meant to improve teacher-learner performance in classroom. The event, dubbed Knowledge Generation, Mobilization and Strengthening Teacher Capacity, saw selected teachers from different counties sharing knowledge on how best to tackle mathematics subject in the current CBC curriculum.
The project is about use of technology and use of data in the teaching. A very, very good innovation is the error analysis of learners. Why do learners make certain errors in mathematics? What is the reason?
Meanwhile, a section of students drawn from the University of Nairobi has threatened to storm help offices on Monday over failure to disburse funds to their accounts. The students are complaining that they are unable to register for their courses or sustain themselves in school due to the delays. They fear that further delays in disbursement of the funds will lead to missing marks.
For a month now, landlords have issued notices of evacuation from us, and we no longer have places to sleep. This 1 month has been painful for most of us. We have been turned into beggars, begging for food and money, like street children in this city.
Finally, Kamagambo Adventist College is hopeful of receiving a university charter this year. This is after a team from the Commission on University Education visited the institution to inspect and verify the available resources necessary for the institution to begin offering university-level courses.
Now that we are advancing, we need to train people at a higher level. We cannot continue training people at the low level that was done in 1912, and that's why it is necessary that we upgrade to the university level so that we can train people to be more efficient in serving the church and the community.
Tilio Marco for Sunday Express.
All right, let's now shift our attention to the politics of the weekend, and a section of leaders allied to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance are appealing to all leaders to preach peace and avoid divisive politics that will undermine national unity. The leaders who spoke separately urged Kenyans to disregard utterances from political factions that are meant to undermine the country's top leadership's development agenda.
A section of elected leaders led by Kakamega Governor Fernandes Baraza were at a Thanksgiving church service in Lugari. Here, the leaders warned against divisive rhetoric, which they said could hinder national progress.
Wanaendelea kuwazungumzia mambo ya ukabila. Ukabila lazima tuachane naye.
Magavana wote tuko nyuma yake, tutamuunga mkono mwaka wa 2027.
The undertone resonating in the neighboring Uasin Gishu County during a fundraiser to support traders at Moi Bridge who had lost goods after a fire broke out. The leaders, led by Area Governor Jonathan B. and Kapseret lawmaker Oscar Sudi, took issue with leaders that they said are dividing the country.
Sisi tukae na umoja wetu na tupendane. Leo mimi ni governor, mwingine atakuja kesho. Siku ile mwenye alikuwa pale. Na hii kazi tutamaliza.
So tukae imara kama nchi. Tuweke nchi pamoja. Na tuombee wale ambao wanapotoshwa, wale ambao hawajui maneno ya Mungu.
Wa kujenga barabara, wa kuweka stima, ni wa kuweka maji. Siasa itakuja 2027. Na ikikuja tutafanya.
These are the section of leaders from Mount Kenya region defended Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi over his stand over the abduction cases in the country.
Kuna venye president ameelekezwa afanye kama ametosheka na a certain cabinet secretary.
Meanwhile, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has urged Parliament to play its oversight role efficiently, calling upon the House to probe the efficiency of the new health fund SHA.
haraka iwezekanavyo waachilie hiyo kitu, warudi kwa NHIF, ambao wangapi wanasema warudi kwa NHIF? Na wabunge muwe na ukakamavu. Naona juzi wamekutana wabunge huko Naivasha na wote wanakubaliana kwamba hii kitu haiwezekani.
SHA haifanyi kazi. Huyo mama ameshikwa, amepelekwa mahakamani. Wiki hii wabunge wengi ni wa Kenya Kwanza wamesema kule Naivasha, ukweli tulipitisha sheria, tukaleta sera mbaya, SHA haifanyi kazi.
Time for us to get sporty now. In Kenya's Mombasa Sports Club women team was in imperious form as they thrashed El Nasri of Egypt 9-0 on match day 3 of the Africa Cup Full Hockey Club Championship ongoing in Egypt. El Nasri were unable to contain the flow of attacks from the Kenyan side as they slumped to their biggest defeat of the tournament. Nigeria's Kada Husseins were also at their very best, humiliating Kampala Hockey Club 7-0 in the other women match played today. Their Nigerian counterparts, Plateau Queens, suffered a narrow 1-0 loss to Smoha Club of Egypt. In the men's encounter, Kada Stars, also of Nigeria, struggled to scrap a 3-2 win over Port Ford of Egypt. The tournament, which began on 30th of last month, will come to an end this Friday. Two-time Loop Safari Gravel Series champion Jordan Schleck successfully defended his title in the 120-kilometer title elite race at the first leg of the 2025 Loop Safari Gravel Series held at the Tattoo City. Schleck won in 3 hours, 42 minutes and 6 seconds.
Jordan Schleck once again won the Loop Safari Gravel Series ahead of Charles Kagimu, who finished second, and Bernard Ndungu, who was third. In the women's elite category, Zeverin Nirere emerged victorious in 4 hours, 6 minutes and 5 seconds, ahead of Nyira Habimana, Claudette and Alepar Mary, who were second and third respectively. The 60-kilometer race saw David Carroll claim the top position in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 22 seconds. He was faster than Godfrey Gitonga and Henrik Pedersen, who were the other podium finishers. The 20-kilometer category attracted a mix of recreational cyclists and junior participants, further showcasing the series' appeal to riders of all skills level. The first leg of the series witnessed an impressive turnout of over 500 elite and recreational cyclists from across East Africa who braved the challenging terrain and scenic plains of Tattoo City. The top 5 winners in the elite 120-kilometer race for both men and women were awarded cash prizes of Kenya shillings 20,000, 15,000, 10,000, 7,000 and 5,000 shillings respectively. Additionally, victorious teams earned 125,000, 100,000 and 70,000 for the first, second and third positions respectively.
Police FC's hopes of securing a win that would see them comfortably remain at the top of the FKF Premier League table suffered a major blow after drawing a 1-1 with Sofapaka at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. Both teams began the game on a high and had equal scoring chances before Donalo Okello gave Sofapaka the lead in the 37th minute to force a 1-0 half-time lead. In the second half, Sofapaka defenders reinforced their backline, but police were determined to get something from the game and levelled in the 89th minute through Brian Okoth. In other matches, Bandari FC beat Moranga Seals 3-2. Shabana FC and Kariobangi Sharks played to a goalless draw. AFC Leopards beat Nairobi City Stars 1-0. Otaska FC was held to a barren draw by KCB.
Sio Lila inakanyago kwa Kengume, alikuwa amezidi mapema. Sio amejaribu kuikata, ameileta ndani bwana. Shikanda Moses inamwandilia Auste. What a save!
Old Town football team emerged champions in the under-13 boys category after a 1-0 win over Tudor. during the FKF Youth League Finals held at Serani Sports Ground in Mvita, Mombasa County. In the under 15 boys category, Sergor Youth triumphed over Bandari Youth, and that was in a penalty shootout after a 1-1 draw. Mombasa City secured the under 17 boys title with a convincing 3-1 victory over Old Town. Speaking after the games, Mombasa FKF chair Alamin Ahmed Abdallah said the league was established to identify and nurture football talents. The 2024-2025 Football Kenya Federation youth spanning across 15 youth centers throughout the country attracted 786 teams from 6 counties, namely Turkana, Kakamega, Kisumu, Nakuru, Mombasa and Nairobi. The league, which kicked off in August 2024, attracted 50 teams in Mombasa, drawn from sub-counties of Likoni and Mvita.
Kitu cha kwanza ambazo mimi nitafanya kama Mombasa County Chairman ni kuleta watu wote pamoja, stakeholders wote pamoja, ambao currently nimefanya last week kuwaita former international coaches.
Hizi youth leagues kitambo zimetekelezwa sana ama hazijakuwa zikizingatiwa. Lakini tukiangalia kulingana hata na ile national office na kulingana na dispensation ya mpira katika nchi yetu sahihi, tumeweza kuona hata under 17 ya girls wameenda mpaka World Cup.
Kama FKF walivyofanya hivi kuweka tour zile teams ziko around ni kupunguza kama cost ile ya kusafiri. Sasa hakuna kusafiri, wanatembea 5 kilometers within, wanatembea tu.
Alma Kome and Tevin Waweru were among the few standout swimmers of the Private and International Prep School Sports Association Invitational Swimming Gala, which ended today at the Moi Educational Center in Nairobi. Kenya Dolphins and Consolata Swim Club won the team titles for girls and boys, respectively.
Alma Kome and Tevin Waweru were just too fast in the waters as they outpaced their opponents in their respective competitions to leave a mark in the 2-day PIPSA Swimming Championship. 9-year-old Kome from Consolata School won the 100-meter breaststroke in 2 minutes, 4.60 seconds. 13-year-old Waweru Tevin was as good, winning the 100-meter butterfly in 1 minute, 30.23 seconds. The event at Moi Educational Center attracted 500 swimmers competing in 2,000 events over the 2 days.
Today we are at Moi Education Center for an invitational swimming gala which attracts both beginners, intermediate and professional swimmers.
24 schools competed in the gala that offered young swimmers an opportunity to display their talents and boost their confidence.
The swimming competition was very competitive and some of the swimmers were very bitter, but I still had to train more to get some more medals, and what I would like to be is what I'm aiming for is to be an Olympian.
Kenya Dolphins won the girls' team title with 4,115 points, beating hosts Moi Educational, who was second, while Consolata Swim Club finished third. Consolata won the boys' category with 2,187 points, ahead of Kenya Dolphins and Wood Creek School, who were second and third respectively. The next PIPSA event will be an athletics event to be held on the 8th of February at the M-Pesa Academy in Thika.
Kenya's top shooting master Ibrahim Ndungu won 2 gold medals during the IPSC Grand Rifle Shooting. That is a championship held at Kirigiti Shooting Range in Kiambu County. Agnes Mushiri was the best lady, taking home the gold medal.
Ibrahim Ndungu was the overall winner of the IPSC Grand Rifle Shooting Championship held at Kirigiti, taking the gold ahead of Geoffrey Pesa, who won the silver, while Jasmia Sian settled for the bronze medal. In the ladies category, Agnes Mushiri was in a class of her own, winning gold ahead of Sylvia Kinya, who went home with the silver, as Husna Ramadan sailed the podium places with the bronze. Ndungu was using the championship to prepare for the Africa IDPA Championship, which will be held in Mombasa Bamburi Rifle Club this February, the Extreme Euro Open in the Czech Republic in June, and the World Handgun Championship in South Africa in September. And he will be participating together with her 16-year-old daughter Mariam Ibrahim.
Stanley Madenge and Sheila Auma are among 17 boxers that have qualified for the National Intermediate Championship to be held from the 20th to the 22nd of this month in Thika. The 17 boxers won their respective bouts during a 3-day National Novices Boxing Championship held at Green Park.
Stanley Madenge overpowered Tony Muoki to win the 48 kilograms men's bout during the National Novices Boxing Championship, which was the first national tournament of the year organized by the Boxing Federation of Kenya. The 3-day event also saw Sheila Auma beat Evelyn Nyambura in the 54 kilograms bout. In the other fights, Lameko Kumu defeated Joram Mwangi in the over 91 kilograms bout. Charles Okendo lost to Clinton Mwangi in the 86 kilograms fight. Sally Ajema was too strong for Joy Bella Owano in a 74 kgs fight, as Eunice Mudhoni boxed her way to victory over Cynthia Sirikwa.
Nataka nicheze boxing juu niko na dreams boxing inaweza nisaidia nipeleke mbali hadi nito at least nje ya Kenya. Na nisaidie familia yangu tutoke mali tuko. Hiyo ndio kinaweza nataka hadi boxing nisaidie na najua inaweza nipe employment opportunity. Sasa ndo maana najituma sana.
Nasikia nimefurahia sana kuchukua National Novice. Dionye kwangu ilikuwa na dream sana nifike hiyo level national, na naona enyewe leo ndoto imetimika. But dream yangu, main dream ni kufika huko Olympic, represent Kenya, ni kujadi na gold medal, ni break ile title kama ya Wangila.
Other winners of the tournament were Javan James, Kennedy Omolo, Philip Derrick, Ramadan Ngala, Sonia Atieno, and Damaklin Boyan. The tournament attracted a record 149 boxers, including 134 men and 14 women from 17 counties, in which 3 counties, Kisii, Kirinyaga, and Taita Taveta, were making their debut.
Boxing is coming back to where we want it to be, and this is a very good show because many counties also have participated, and also new ones have also participated, and we are anticipating that coming the next year we shall double the number.
Nairobi entered 11 boxers in the final who, alongside other finalists, qualified for the National Intermediate Championship to be held on the 20th to 22nd of this month in Thika.
Well, about 36 minutes ago, a match has concluded at the Emirates Stadium that has finally proven that all of Manchester is useless. Be it City, be it United, all of it is useless in the sense a 5-1 win for Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Their counterparts in Manchester United earlier, in a match played about an hour earlier, again fell to Crystal Palace. So nothing good can come from Manchester. Time for us to exit. Thank you very much for watching Sunday Express. God bless you. Have yourself a good night.
Shilingi 1000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku.
Stoki. Oh. Kizongo mkuri. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
Simfungulie huyu.
Ati?
Nimesema sifunguliwe huyu. Sasa basi nakupa ruksa. Nenda ukaishi huko.
Toroka. Rudi mafichoni Kalume utakuja shikwa.
Wewe usinikumbushe Sudi.
Nini mpenzi?
Wewe ukitaka kujua mtu mzima na meno 32 nitetee na mpenzi.
Kini? Hakuna cha lakini. Nilikuwepo sikwambiwa.
Habarisha wanakisiwa wote kwamba yeyote atakayeniletea taarifa za aliko Kalume nitampatia donge nono.
Hebu toka nje. Toa ama nikumalize. Simama. Simama hapo. Wewe.
Nataka uambie hawa watu lile jambo ulikuja kusema hapa jana usiku.
If you give a little more than you take, if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way. There's a place for people like.
Sema asante. Asante sana.
Asante. Asante sana na Mungu awabariki.
Save a life. Save a life, guys. It costs nothing, mazi. Tumeamka tukua sawa, tuko fiti, mazi. What else? Ile kidogo uko nayo, changa. You save a life. And that's a service to God. Service to humanity. Is service to God. Nimetumia mistari.
Fact that you guys are doing a noble cause. Saa zingine hizi ndio vitu zenye zinamata kuliko hata kutengeneza manyumba, kuendesha magari. Hizi vitu ndogo kama kusaidia huyo mtu mwenye anapitia situation. Kwa sababu you never know who that person is.